today we'll be talking about a very important tool called NMAP. Now this tool is used in the preliminary stages of any attack, and this stage is known as active reconnaissance. Now, NMAP is very important to any attack or pen test, and if you want to know more, then just sit back and relax as I talk you through how NMAP can be used to gain information to help you hack. It's Novice here, and in this video, we'll learn how to use NMAP to start our attacks on certain systems. Now to start off, we have to go over a briefing of what NMAP really is. Now, NMAP stands for Network Mapper. And as the name states, it's meant to build a map of what systems are on the network that you are currently looking to investigate. Now this tool is used by both black hat and white hat hackers. Now what this tool does is that it scans for a specific device, host name, or subnet for more information pertaining to the network. Now like many tools, we decide whether to use it for good or bad. So if you're here, make sure that your intentions are correct. But with the intro out of the way, let's hop into our Kali Linux environment and show the different ways that we can use NMAP to help with our pen test. Alright guys, and now we're in our Kali Linux environment. So what I want to do to first start us off is essentially what Kali is made for. So Kali is made to actually discover if hosts are up and working within your environment. So that is always the first step of any pen test. You have to know what devices are actually on in your environment so that you can know what to target and how to go about targeting it. So right now we'll go over some host discovery methodologies and which ones are quieter, which ones are louder, and which ones can get around some of those pesky security measures that we intend to put into place after hacking them properly. So let's go ahead and start off with what I believe is the quietest host discovery method, which essentially is predicated on attacking layer 2 of the OSI model. So what this does is that it sends an ARP request to the host that we are specifying, and if it gets a reply, we know that it is up. So we're going to be using this IP address throughout the whole video. Just keep in mind it's our domain controller. So boom, we know it's up because I have it up. So that is the quietest way to discover if there is a host that's on. Next, what we can actually do is send a ping to a device. So essentially this one operates on the layer 3 of the OSI model. So 58, right? Boom. Like I said, we know that this is up, but I do want to go through these to show you the different ways that you can go about getting said information, because who knows, maybe one day you're trying to do a more quiet one, you decide to do it by sending an ARP request, or you're just trying to get the information as quickly as possible. You might just say, okay, let me just get the IP address. Now, moving forward, you can also use a TCP scan to determine whether this device is on or not. So in this case, what this command is doing is that it's sending a TCP acknowledgement packet to said destination. Now, this is very essential, and I'll probably explain it more along in the video, but we can send both TCP and UDP information. When it comes to TCP in particular, we have a sync packet and an acknowledgement packet. So the reason we want to send an acknowledgement packet is that a SYN packet might be blocked using firewalls or other filtering methods, but an acknowledgement most likely will not be, because your other system, or the system you're trying to reach, is most likely going to think that this is a connection that is already made, and so an acknowledgement request wouldn't be so strange. So it is more likely to actually reply in some sort of fashion, usually I think with a reset packet. So when that reset packet is sent, we will then be able to know that yes, this is reachable, but if there's no packet sent back, then we know that this port is closed. Now that's important because obviously if a port is open, that is usually a giveaway that the device is up. If it's not open, you don't know, that port could be closed or the computer could be turned off. So just keep that in mind, because it'll come important for a different flag that I'll show you in NMAP as well. But these are the 4 that I would recommend using when trying to determine if a host is up. And then obviously, if you want to, you could go crazier with it and hit them with like nmap or now this would, instead of just scanning one specific IP address, scan that entire subnet. And obviously that's good because, like I said, this is more quiet because this is an ARP request is more so able to get around firewall restrictions, because a firewall really isn't interested in ARP requests. It's more interested in anything from the layer 3 and above. So it kind of goes under the radar. You can still do it with like the -PE flag, which will still work out. But I'm more fond of this one because it is more quiet, and as a hacker, you'll get less people, less eyebrows raised at you if you use this one instead. So this is the quieter one, but I do believe that layer 3, which is the -PE, does work faster. Now moving forward, we're gonna start looking at how to scan ports specifically. So it always starts with NMAP because we're obviously using NMAP here. But let's see, now to scan a specific port, we can just use a lowercase p, say what ports it is we want to scan. I don't remember what ports are on in this, but let's try 135. Not 20, but send a 0.0.58. And here we can, oh, I typed that in wrong. I did not mean for that extra 6 there. Okay, well, here you can see, boom, so this one is closed and this one is open here. So when you're using the port, you use the -P followed by the actual port number, and then followed by the target that you're actually looking to get the information for. Now, there's also something else you can do, and that's essentially create your own kind of list of targets within a file. And once you do that, let me actually see if I can do this really quick. So nano IP list .txt is gonna have the same thing in it. We're gonna do nmap -il what did I just call it? IP list .txt. And if I wanted, I could probably just do that one. P135 again. And it gives you the same result. Obviously, this is more helpful when you have a lot more IP addresses. So keep this in mind. If you have like a huge network, you're able to whittle it down to only a few hosts that you know for sure are up. You can then place them in a list, scan for specific ports that you want, and from there do whatever you need to. Because obviously different ports have different hacking mechanisms, different services have different vulnerabilities. So use this to your advantage to gain as much information as you can. Now, so that's how you scan for packets specifically. Now, something else you can do is actually scan for the specific version that a service is using. Now, as you can see, 135 has this port open and the service is MS, so Microsoft RPC, right? So if we were to use version instead, now we're going to use on the entirety of blanking on the name, the domain controller. So we're going to see this for each port that is open. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but if it does, I'll skip forward so you guys don't have to waste your time with it. Okay, perfect. So the main difference here is that you get the service version information. So as opposed to here, you just get the service. When you come down here, you get the service here with the Microsoft Windows RPC. For domain, you see a simple DNS plus. For here, see Microsoft Windows Kerberos. So essentially you get all that extra information. Once you get that information, you can just do a little bit of Googling, see if any of these services have, or these service versions have any particular vulnerabilities. Then you can look to exploit them. and then from there you have your way into the network. So just keep in mind that this is a good way to use the service version information. Now next up, there are also vulnerabilities that can be found within an operating system of a specific IP address, and that's what we're looking at next. So we're gonna hit them with the NMAP-O followed by the domain controller IP. Now once I search this, it should essentially give the same information followed by what it believes the operating system will be. So let's scroll up here. Unfortunately this one, if you know what OS is running, so it wasn't able to pull any OS information. Now the most likely reasoning for this is that what I'm running right now for the domain controller is, I think it's Microsoft Server 2025. I don't know how old this Kali Linux box is, so it might not be attuned to like pick that up, but this is useful and does actually work if it's used properly. So I'll say my bad on that one, but take my word for it. Why would I ever lie to you guys? But next, moving forward, we have a flag that can either speed up the timing of an attack or slow it down. Now you might be thinking, why would we do that? Why would we do that? Essentially, if your attacks are found back to back to back, like especially in like a log or something like that, they'll be able to easily track that information back to you. If you slow it down and the scan is more spread out to look more natural, maybe look like, I don't know, a firewall just scanning the devices to make sure that nothing's going wrong, you would have a more believable excuse that you're not a hacker. It could be that something else is scanning that device that's looking to defend it, even if it's truly just you and you're just lying to them. So with this one, I'm not gonna show the slowest option. I'll show the fastest one, but essentially you use the -T flag. Now -T has an option from 0 to 5, 0 being the slowest and 5 being the fastest. So I'm gonna do 5 because a slow one could take a lot of time and a lot of resources that I currently do not have. So we're gonna run the 5. You guys are gonna see the information for that. It's probably gonna look a lot like the information from above, but that's okay because right now we're not trying to hide because this is our own environment. So hopefully this should finish fast. So this finished in 1.65 seconds as opposed to our operating system scan, which took 11.15. But let's come back up here. And this was for a service version, which took 8.18. So obviously the more information you're trying to pull, the longer it could take. So just keep that in mind. Now, you can also do something. You can also do a scan where you, what's the way to say it? You lie to the system that you are scanning. So boom, let's say my name is Novice, right? So I go up, let's say to a workplace trying to sneak in. I'm not gonna go there tell them my name is Novice. I'm gonna tell them my name is John, Billy, Bob, I don't know, maybe even Rebecca, I don't know. But I'm not gonna tell them my real name. So essentially, this is what this decoy scan is gonna look to do as well. So what it does is that it generates fake IP addresses for us, so that when they look back at their log environment, it doesn't immediately point them back to just me. Now my information will still be in there, but they also have a bunch of false information in there that could throw them off of my trail. So to do this, we hit them with NMAP, dash capital D, R&D, Now, when you look at this, the -D flag is the one for the decoy. So it creates the decoys, but the RND stands for random number. I forgot what the D stands for, but random number of devices, I guess. But it essentially tells you how many extra fake devices will be made. And this one will be made randomly. Now, if there are times you could also put your own IP address list. So I'll run this. I hope it takes a short period of time. Well, wait it out. So essentially, the best way to see this would probably be to use what's that tool called? The one that tracks traffic. Whatever. Packet capture. So a packet tracer or packet capture. Use one of those tools to actually see that where the IPs are coming from will look different from here. But like I said, you can also specify the specific fake addresses you want to do. So maybe you do this, then you space it out. Then maybe I want it to be 0.2 10.0.0.3, and then probably just run the real thing here. Maybe I did this wrong. Maybe it has to be in parentheses. Let me try that instead. Okay, there you go. So instead of the space, it looks like you cram them together, make the list, and then you put your own target server, and then you run it, and you're good to go. Now, like I said, it's hard to see in this environment, but if you have a packet tracer, I would suggest using it for this one, and then you'll actually be able to see, wow, IP 10.0.0.2 is really trying to get me, or IP 10.0.0.3 is really trying to get me. And the whole time it's actually 10.0. Whatever my address is, I can't even remember right now, is actually trying to get you. Now, we have something similar for MAC addresses as well. And that is, what's it called? So it does MAC spoofing. Essentially it does the same thing, but for that the command is NMAP dash, I think it's dash spoof dash MAC, and then we actually try to scan what we're trying to scan. Now, when you do the spoof.mac, you then have to specify a number afterwards, which, well, the 0 afterwards makes it so that it's a random MAC that's being spoofed. Have to do it like this. Oh, no registered vendor. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is the fake MAC. Let me come up here because we ran this scan earlier. Okay, so the real MAC ends in OC76FB, and the fake MAC ends in this. So it essentially just spoofs our MAC address so that they will think that they are receiving this from a different MAC address. So that's essentially what spoofing the MAC address does. And like I said, that these techniques are meant to essentially keep you more on the secretive side when you're doing these things, so that with the IP address, the decoy scan, boom, they won't know who it really is that's attacking them. And for the MAC spoofing, they won't really know what your MAC address is. And that's good, but it only works on, I believe, devices within that network, because the MAC address changes as it goes from router to router. So it is only useful for the subnet. And then same for the NMAP-PR as well, because these two are heavily dependent on MAC addresses or MAC address information being sent out. So because of that, these two should only be used on a local subnet. Now, there are two more things I want to show you. The first, I'll have to explain a little how NMAP works, especially when you're doing things in like a subnetted fashion. So when you have a list of devices that you want NMAP to scan for, or a subnet that you want NMAP to scan for, it scans them in order. Now this can be obvious within any log that you capture. So this method is meant to randomize the hosts that are scanned within the subnet so that it looks like a regular day to that log. Because say I see 10.0.0.1 got scanned, 10.0.0.2 got scanned, all the way to 10.0.0.10. I'm thinking it's scanning information. But if you saw that 10.0.10 got scanned, then 10.0.20, then 10.0.2, you might not think that. You might just think, oh, these could be our own systems doing things, whether it be antivirus, endpoint detection, even your firewall. So there are a lot of things that go into play. You kind of have to be in the mind of the defender as well. But this is essentially going to help our case to make us look more normal within the environment. Because if we're scanning it in order, it looks like, oh, we're a hacker that's just trying to get that information. But we don't want it to look that way. We want it to look like we're a regular Smo Joe who's inside of the environment. So we'll do randomize host. In this case, we can't run it because, like I said, we don't have anything else within the environment. But essentially, you do something along the lines of this, and then the subnet, and then scan it. And now finally, the last flag we're going to use is for fragmentation. And it looks like this. Now all this does is that it fragments our packets into smaller packets so that we can try to avoid detection from firewall or filtering machines. Now, fragmentation is just breaking down the packets into smaller pieces. So, like I said earlier, a SYN packet, a TCP SYN packet that is usually sent out has a more likelihood of being blocked because defenders know that if you're trying to send a SYN packet, you're trying to start up a connection. However, SYN packets look a certain way that can be captured. So to avoid this, we try to break down the packet into smaller pieces. And although altogether it would look like a SYN packet, when it's broken up, it might not look so much like a SYN packet. And because of that, you might be able to get some of your packets in there to actually scan these devices. So we shall do this. Now we're not going to see, well, we're going to see a little bit of a difference here, but we're not going to be able to see through the results that the packets were fragmented. That we have to trust because we ran the fragmentation flag. So essentially, that is all that I had to go through with you guys today for NMAP usage for pen testing. So I hope that you guys learned something new. I know I sure did. I took a lot out of this actually. I learned how to be more stealthy while I attacked. I learned how I can be more loud. I don't know, maybe I want to distract someone. But yes, this has been a very interesting lesson for me. So if you guys want more information on either NMAP, other tools, or how to go about hacking, you know that this is the channel for you. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. And hey, come see me in the next video. But with that, if you guys have anything you want to say, if there's something you don't like, let me know in the comment section below. Trying to get some engagement, know what I'm doing right, know what I'm doing wrong, and then change accordingly. But with that, I'll let you guys have the rest of your day, man. So, Novice out. Peace.